Hi, in this video I'll help you get to know your car a little better. At the end of this video I've put together a straightforward infographic that summarizes all the key points. Like, subscribe and comment below. It really helps.
All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're basically going to be detectives for your car. We're cracking one of those codes that can be a real headache for Chevy owners. P0113. You know that feeling, right? You're just cruising along, minding your own business, and boom, there it is. That dreaded little orange light on your dash, the check engine light. You plug in your scanner and it spits out P0113. Super frustrating, I get it. But hey, don't sweat it. We're going to figure out exactly what your car is trying to tell you.
Look, instead of seeing it as just a problem, let's think of this error code like a puzzle. It's a very specific clue your car's computer is giving you. And our mission right here, right now, is to find the key and solve this thing.
Okay, so with any good mystery, you've got to understand the language of the clues, right? So first things first, we need to decode something called the intake air temperature circuit, or IAT for short. This is pretty much where the whole story of P0113 kicks off. So what is P0113 exactly? Well, it's what they call a diagnostic trouble code, or DTC. And all it's really saying is that there's a high voltage issue somewhere in that intake air temperature sensor circuit. Think of it like this. Your car's computer is screaming, hey, the signal I'm getting from this sensor is way too high. Something's wrong. And that little alert brings us to the main character in our whole drama, the IAT sensor. Its job sounds simple, but trust me, it's absolutely vital. It's the thing that measures the temperature of the air getting sucked into your engine.
Yeah, to put it even more simply, just think of it as a thermometer for the air your engine breathes. Kind of like how you check the weather outside, your engine needs to know how hot or cold the air is that it's using just to work properly.
So why do we even care about this? Well, all that temperature data gets sent straight to the engine control module, the ECM, which is basically your car's brain. And the brain uses that info to make really important adjustments, like to the fuel mixture and the ignition timing. So you can see where this is going, right? If the brain gets bad data from the IAT sensor, it's going to make bad decisions, and that is what messes with your performance and your fuel economy. All right, detective, we understand the code. Now it's time to investigate the scene of the crime. When it comes to a P0113 code, we've got 4 usual suspects. Let's line them up and see what they have to say for themselves. And here they are, our lineup. We're looking at 4 main possibilities. It could be the IAT sensor itself, some faulty wiring, a weird signal from another sensor called the math sensor, or get this, even a simple air leak. Now, just so you know, a lot of the time on these Chevys, it is a faulty sensor. But hold on, don't go buying parts just yet. We need to check out each one of these suspects first.
So let's look at suspect number 1. This is usually the most obvious one. The IA sensor itself has just given up the ghost. It might be stuck sending a crazy high reading, or maybe it's just failed inside. And if that's the case, well, there's really only one fix. You gotta replace it.
Okay, on to suspect number 2. Now, what if the sensor is perfectly fine? The problem could be that the message is getting lost in translation on its way to the car's brain. You could have a damaged wire, a corroded connector, or something as simple as a loose plug. Any break in that communication line can trigger the P0113 code, making you think it's a sensor when it's not.
Now this is where the plot thickens a little bit. Our third suspect is actually an accomplice. See, there's another sensor called the mass airflow, or MAF sensor, and it works hand in hand with the IAT sensor. If the MAF sensor starts giving bad info about how much air is flowing in, it can totally confuse the car's brain, making it misread the temperature data and, yep, trigger our P0113 code.
And last but not least, our 4th suspect. This is the one that might surprise you. A simple physical air leak. We're talking a crack in a hose, maybe a bad gasket. If unmeasured air is sneaking into the engine after the sensors have done their job, it throws off the whole system. That delicate balance the car's brain is trying to maintain, gone. And that alone can be enough to set off the code.
Okay, so we've got our lineup of suspects. Now for the big question. How do we actually solve this case and get that annoying check engine light to turn off for good? Well, it all comes down to following a clear step-by-step process. Here's your 4-step action plan. Step 1, double-check the code. Make sure it's actually P0113. Step 2, investigate systematically. And here's a pro tip. Start with the easy stuff. Look for obvious air leaks or loose connectors before you start testing sensors. Step 3, once you've found the bad guy, apply the fix. Repair it or replace it. And step 4, and this is super important, clear the code, and then go for a drive to make sure it doesn't come back.
And just like that, what started as a confusing mystery is now a clear path to getting it fixed. You've gone from mystery to mastery. So let's just do a quick recap of the most important takeaways here.
So what's the bottom line? Remember this, P0113 is all about that IAT sensor circuit. You've got 4 primary suspects, from the sensor itself to a simple air leak. The absolute key is being systematic in how you check for them. Honestly, just understanding what the code means is half the battle, and it's the first real step to fixing it with confidence.
You know, there's a line from the source material that really just nails it. It basically says that a proper diagnosis isn't about throwing parts at a problem and guessing. It's about understanding. Once you know what could be wrong, you can find the actual solution so much faster.
So look, the next time that check engine light pops on, you're not going to panic. You'll be ready. You've just seen how a totally cryptic code can be broken down, investigated, and solved. You've gone from confused to confident. So now that you've cracked P0113, what's the next mystery you're going to solve?